A very good morning, everybody. This is the presentations of our PhD students under PhD coursework. Uh, the research scholars are supposed to make presentations in the three papers. Uh, yeah, my mic is on, but somewhere there is an echo sound because somebody's mic is on. Somebody's mic is so. That's what we tell that before we go live, we have to do things ready. But then again, some instructions remain to be given when we are also live. Okay, but yeah, just see that. Uh, Okay, so PhD coursework presentations, we are here for this. And batch 2019 and 20 students are going to make the presentations on various topics today. We have a full day for their presentations. Each and every research scholar is going to make presentation on three various topics. In this first morning slot, they are going to make presentation on research methodology. And in this slot, we have the presentations by these students. Let me share a screen and let us see the name of the candidates and their topic on which they are going to make a presentation. So in this morning first slot, we have first presentation by Pooja Trivedi, and she will read a presentation on variations and alterations in MLA Handbook, which is the 8th and the 9th editions will be compared. Poojaba Jadeja will read on mechanics of writing. Komal Shahedadpuri will read on tools and techniques for ELT research. Sonaji Rajput will make presentation on connecting research to law and journalism. Megha Trivedi will make presentation on citation styles. Namrata Gohil will make presentation on the technique of research paper writing and publishing. Nimesh will make presentation on plagiarism and academic integrity. So that will be in the first slot of the presentations. Okay. So let us start with the first one, and let me ask Pooja Trivedi to come and make her presentation.
Good noon to all of you. I am Pooja Trivedi, PhD Research Scholar of the batch 2019, and today I am going to make my presentation on variations and alterations in MLA Handbook, especially 8th and 9th edition. Let me share my screen with you for presentation. So the first question which comes in our mind is why MLA Handbook? Before I begin my presentation, I would like to say something regarding why we need MLA. As a human being, we have upbringing in such a way that we inherited some habits. We are rarely give credits to others. Rather, blame game and crab mentality overpower our mindset of giving credit to others. But when you enter in the arena, realm of research, it becomes very essential to give credit to others, even if you borrow a single word or a single idea. Because academic writing has its roots in communication and conversation among scholars. Scholars communicate their research to their peers in form of book or journal or any research paper. At that time, it is not a solo effort. Research is not a solo effort. It is not done in a vacuum. Whenever you go and do a researcher come across many relevant topics related to his research, Either he builds on, or he rejects the idea, he contradicts the idea, or he takes something from that relevant topics. And at that time, it becomes important to mention them in your research. At that point, MLA handbooks help us a lot. MLA handbook presents a general agreement on the conventions of documenting research properly. It helps us organize our data. MLA handbook helps us in two ways. One is it gives information about how to make research paper, how to avoid plagiarism, how to collect data for our research, and at last it gives a detailed information about how to organize the data with parenthesis and works cited list. So it helps in organizing data. It guides readers of the researcher to the original sources from which we have adopted, from which we have taken the idea or a quotation or a paragraph. So it is a guideline. So, in the midst of this research, MLA handbook works as a compass for us. It is like a easy to use reference tool. It's a handy tool. It gives worth to your research. It makes it trustworthy. Your research paper is trustworthy if you are putting citations with the help of this MLA style. So it is named as a style bible of academic writing. If we see the history of MLA handbook, it started in the 1915 with the style sheet, which published again in the 1970, and after that in 1977 the first edition of MLA handbook published. Gradually, in all the 4 5 years they are revising, because MLA believes that changing is necessary as per the demand of the time. It is necessary to make changes, because initially we researchers were citing only books or journals. Now we have lots of information on Google and social media, Twitter. We are citing everything. So for to meet this requirement, MLA is continuously changing, and we have two recent additions. One came in 2016, that is MLA Handbook 8th edition, and the ninth edition recently came in 2021. There are major changes. This both are groundbreaking changes made by MLA handbooks. So, what are these changes? What MLA has changed so vast? Let's see at first. When we look at the MLA Handbook 7th edition, there was a kind of description that perspective list of formats. If you want to cite newspaper, you have to use different format. If you have to cite in journal, you have to use different format. So separate rules were there for all the citations. Now in 8th edition, they have made it very flexible. They have molded in such a way that basic principles of citation remains the same. So basic principles which underlie MLS style, they have pinned down to those questions, and on the basis of that, so the template of the 8th edition is formed. How they have done that? On the three principles: think, select, and organize. Because facts that are common in most of the works, that should be there in your citation. So some WH questions, if we ask, we get the answer of the template. First is, who is the author of the source? Obviously author should be mentioned. If author is not there, then what should be mentioned? All this guidance is given in MLA template. What is the title? This is a common title, and author must be there. Then how was the source published? How means in book format or in online format, how it is published? Where did you find it? Did you find the same work in the book and the online also? So how will you cite it? And when it was published? These 5 questions, if you answer, then you think about these 5 questions, select appropriate data, organize it for your citations. The detailed template that is given by MLA 8th edition is here. Author, last name first, that is common in all the editions. Who wrote the article? Even if you are citing a YouTube video or television source, then director or the character becomes your author, specific person. Title of the source, whether it is podcast episode, artwork, or journal article. That is the title of the source. Then two container options is given. If you find the same article in a hard copy and soft copy, you can put both the containers together here. So title of one container is a journal article, originally where the journal is published. Then contributors, if it is if not a single author is there, but two authors, two or more authors, either the edition is translated, narrated by someone, edited by someone, then that should be there. Version and number, volumes of episodes. Then the publisher who produced this article, or if it is put online, then who put it. Publication date, original publication if you are using book or journal in a hard copy. Then location, if you find the source online, then now URL is was there in 7th edition also, but in 8th and 9th edition they prefer permalink and DOI over URL. If you find this both, that will be container second. Then location, you have to mention here DOI or permalink. Now, what are the major changes? If everything is said in 8th edition, then what is there new? What is new in the 9th edition? So 9th edition is like an updated version of 8th edition, right? 7th edition was too large, that we all know. Then they comprise in 8th edition. Again, with the major changes, they make it larger. It is double size than 8th edition. In 9th edition, some new chapters are added. Some explanations are expanding in the sections, and some new subjects, new topics which were missing in MLA 8th edition, they are included. So in new chapters, we see formation of MLA style paper in detail, inclusive language, because it is a very crucial topic in the present arena. Political writings, religious writing, gender roles, if you are writing, then language should be very appropriate. So you cannot use now the word man-made. We have to use human-made, okay? Because male and female both have. So this type of language mistake should not be there. So inclusive language guidance is given in new chapter. And notes, because when we put our citations, so many details are missing. Citations are in a proper organized manner, but if the details of that source is missing, you can put it as a footnotes, endnotes, and content notes. Details of that is also given in the 9th edition. Then citation, in on each element of citation, the template that we have seen, each element is given in detail. For example, if you are using the pseudonym of the writer, then how should you mention it? If you are using the source that is broadcasted online only, then how you should put. So detailed information on each element, how you should use numbers. Apart from that, punctuation guidelines. Now colon is not there in citations. Instead of that, comma is the only thing that we are using in the citation. In initial citations like MLS 7th edition, we used to have colons. Now that is not there in citations. Plagiarism guidelines is given in detail, because now information is overflowing day by day. We have the bulk of information, but to come down to our appropriate information is a crucial task. Then some new subjects that are added in this edition, which was not there in the 8th edition at all, that is annotated bibliographies. You can put the small paragraph, not more than one paragraph of annotated bibliographies in your research paper or in your research work. Then social media, in 8th edition they have introduced that you can use username directly in citation. Now suddenly there is a change that you cannot use username in citation. Instead, you have to use the actual name or the account name rather than username. And if you want to put username, you should put it in square brackets. That is a change in the citation of social media. And how to cite the works that are in apps and in databases. If you are using any proper application, then if you want to cite it, how to use. So in 9th edition, these are the major changes. the basic changes that happen in ninth edition, there are two types. We know that when we cite with MLA, we have two-fold way. One is in-text citation and the other is work cited list. So in in-text citation, we have three forms. Citation in prose, which is a new term introduced by MLA with some changes. For example, if you want to quote Gandhiji, so one way is truth triumphs everywhere, and then you put Gandhiji in the bracket, that is parenthesis meta. But if you want to use it in a prose, citation in prose, then according to Gandhiji, truth is reality, and the name of number of the page only from his autobiography. Okay, that is how you use citation in prose, that is at large. Then when you put it in parenthesis, either you put the name of the book or the page number only. If you are using the name of the author from where you have taken the quotation, if you are using it in a prose, no need to mention it in parenthesis, only mention the number, page number there. Okay, or you just make it abbreviation. If you are using large names or the same name again and again, then you should put abbreviation of that name, and then in the work cited list, detail entry of the same. Some major changes that came in the work cited list, they are the pseudonyms of author. In 8th edition, it is given the idea that you should put pseudonym in round brackets. Now this is very minute detail. Now in 9th edition, if you want to put pseudonym, you should use square brackets. So this change, round bracket to square bracket, along with the social media citation, you should put the name of username in square brackets, and in 8th edition it was in round brackets. So this is a change. Pseudonym and username comes in square brackets. Preferable use of DOI and permalink over URL. Even if URL is long than 3 lines, you should cut it down to the home page .org or .edu, that you should shorten it URL. That is given in instruction in the 9th edition. Then initially in 8th edition, if journals are published quarterly, season wise, spring and autumn season wise, then they use S or A capital, spring and autumn. But that capitalization should be not there in 9th edition. It should not capitalize, it should in small. Okay, small alphabets, not capital. So that is a change also. Account name of the person, that I have already said. Account name or actual name of the person is allowed rather than username in social media citation. And if you are using the name of the press, which are very long, then you should abbreviate. University Press, then UP is okay in citation. They understand, common understanding is there in MLA citations. So these are the major changes that happen in the recent edition, and which helps researchers in citing their sources properly when they do research. So this is all about the variation and alterations that are done in 8th and 9th edition. Thank you, all of you. Now the platform is open for all for your questions.
Okay, so yes, Nimesh.
Why do you think that MLA style is better in humanities compared to other styles?
APA style or other citation style are more for scientific and other fields. When you are entering in the arena of language and literature, then MLS style is the accepted convention style for the citation of the sources. And that's why MLS style is handy and easy even. You have to just put parentheses and the word cited list. No more complications are there. And that's why language and literature students and researchers and teachers prefer MLS style over others. MLA 9th edition. I think Namrata has asked a question that which one thing.
Which one thing do you don't like from MLA 9th edition?
If I read eighth and ninth edition both, I was happy with the eighth edition that it is comprised. It is given with the container. Again, long list of things are there in ninth edition, but I appreciate the thing that they have given a lots of examples, so we don't be confused. But sudden changes that happen with the social media citations and pseudonyms, which are the minor one that students and researchers easily cannot get, that round brackets, square brackets, this change, the sudden change that happen, that I may not appreciate. I don't like it. I don't say I don't like, but that sudden change, because in eighth edition that was changed, again in ninth it was changed. So sudden changes are difficult when you are doing research, because we have cited everything with the eighth edition. Now we have to go back and change again. That's the thing.
Still, there are
Similarly,
two
Rajput
questions,
has
huh?
asked a
Two
question which
similar
I have
questions.
already answered.
So they are there. So I'm just putting it on the screen. So if you want to answer these questions.
I think Komal has asked about ELT research. So, if you are doing language and literature research, I think MLA is the appropriate one over APA. Sir, I have already given the answer of Neelai Rathod's question. The same question was asked by Nimesh, why you prefer MLA style over APA.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, so the next presenter now we have is Poojaba Jadeja. Poojaba is going to make presentation on mechanics of writing.
Hello, good afternoon, all of you. Am I audible? Okay, so today I'm going to present on mechanics of writing, which is a very important part of writing and academic writing. So I'm going to cover three aspects of this topic. One is style, another one is which things we need to avoid, which we should not include in our writing. And the third one is about punctuation marks, which we think that we know very well, but we are not familiar about its uses. So the first one is about style. When we are writing something, we are using some of the things or some of the very important styles. For example, when we are writing our academic writing, we are supposed to use transitional phrases. Now, these transitional phrases are like in spite of or apart from these, however, moreover, along with this. So these are called transitional phrases. These are to link different ideas and different sentences in our writing. Then we are using several sentences. These are divided in different types: declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. These are very familiar sentence types. I'm not going to uh, go in detail about these four types of sentences. Like declarative means, which is declaring something. It is not asking a question, but we are putting it about what we are very sure of. But this you're familiar with, so I'm skipping these four common types of sentences. Let us go forward with the fifth type. This is loose or cumulative sentence. Now, this is a sentence type when we have stated one idea, but we are not ending with the same idea, and we go on adding more and more ideas. For example, I went to the theater and brought popcorns and done this and that. So we are adding more and more phrases and clauses. Sometimes we start with different idea, but then we end with another idea. So this type of sentence is called loose or cumulative. The last one is balanced sentence. Balanced sentence means parts of sentences are talking about similar idea. It is kind of parallelism. So we are starting and ending with the same point or with same idea. It's not opposing to each other. All the parts of sentences are talking about the same logical argument. Then it is called balanced sentence. These are some of the weaknesses we should avoid in our academic writing. The first one is euphemisms. Now, sometimes we are used to make unpleasant sentences and present these sentences in a pleasant way. For example, when a person is dead, instead of telling directly that the person is dead, what we do, we are making sentence like entered into his eternal inheritance. So this how we are making unpleasant facts and presenting it in a pleasant way. So this is called euphemism, and academic writers should avoid this. Another one is deadwood. Deadwood means useless or unnecessary words. For example, we are using some unnecessarily difficult words in our writing. Like we can state directly now. Instead of using the word now, we use at the present time, or indeficient, sorry, or be deficient in, instead of using simple word lack of confidence. So instead of this, we will use she is indeficient in. So this how we are making it unnecessarily difficult. Third one is smothered verbs. Smothered verbs are instead of using the verb, we are using noun phrases. For example, we can use the verb directly, like to compete. Instead of this, we will use he is in competition with. So this is called smothered verbs. So instead of using the verb, we are converting that verb into noun phrases. Fourth one is jargon. Jargon means these somewhere these are called vague abstract nouns. For example, in case of similar suggestions. Now, what is this in case of? So we are not specifying it. So these are vague abstract nouns. For example, in this field of study, but which is this field? We are not specifying. These are called jargon. This is interesting. The fifth one, gobbledygook. Uh, this means when we are using the language that sounds important, governmental, and official, but essentially it sounds meaningless. So these type of sentences mostly used by some journalists. It is called gobbledygook. For example, instead of stating it directly, some of the words are used like activization of innovative ideas. So it sounds very difficult, but it is kind of nonsensical language. The last one is inflated constructions. Inflated constructions means unnecessary blowing up of ideas. When we can use one simple word, we use 10 words instead of one. So these are called uh, inflated constructions. Now, these things we should avoid in our academic writing. The last one is punctuation marks and spelling. When we are writing a thesis, at the time we should refer to the spellings which are used in original source instead of the changed one. For example, fairy queen, the spelling of that title is totally different, so we need to write the actual spelling which is used in the source instead of making or changing it. Another one, another topic which I want to cover is punctuation marks. Now, these are very familiar punctuation marks like apostrophe, colon, commas, dashes, but we are not familiar with the usage. For example, apostrophe we are using for three purposes. Omission of letters, like it is, it's. So at the time we are using apostrophe. Second one, possessive case. We are using apostrophe like hers, theirs, or this way we are using this apostrophe. And the third one is plural case. When we want to use uh, possessive case and plural together. For example, we are a bit confused how to use apostrophe and s after plural. Like there is a one word, one writer, Julian Barnes. So uh, the spelling is ending with s, and we are supposed to add apostrophe and another s if we want to use it in a possessive case, like Julian Barnes, like this. But if the last letter, but the title or the noun is already plural, like girls, at the time we are using apostrophe and not s after that. Girls, GIRLS, then apostrophe only. We are not adding S after that plural pronoun. Second one is colon. Colon is used to indicate or to prefer example. For example, uh, I will give you that you need the most, colon, knowledge. So knowledge he is referring to. Knowledge, the word is example. So we are using colon to indicate example. The next one is commas, dashes, and hyphens. Comma is to add something more. That's a very popular punctuation mark. Dash and hyphen. These two are people are a little bit confused about these two. Dash is a larger line that comes in the middle, and hyphen is the shorter one. We are using dash to pause, to make a pause in sentence. Sometimes when you are reading a drama, there is a dash. It is to indicate that the character is stopping there. So it is to indicate pause. And hyphen is used to separate two words. It is within the word. For example, uh, self-employed, self hyphen employed. So at that time hyphens are used. It's not dash. Italics, we when we are quoting, when we are writing titles always come in italic. Parentheses are to specify something more or to add something. This is to quote additional information. In academic writing, parentheses are used. Periods means full point. So full point is to stop the sentence, to end the sentence. If there are three periods, means if there are three dots, it is called ellipse. So it is, it means intentional, intentional, intentionally someone is pausing or someone is leaving the comment blank. Or if I want to stop intentionally, then it is a kind of a sentence that I'm breaking up with. So at the time, I will use ellipses. Next one is quotation marks. There are two kinds of quotation marks, single and double. When we want to use a dialogue, at the time we are putting it in a quotation mark. But there is a word or there is some sentence within the quotation mark, at the time single inverted commas are used. Next one is semicolon. Semicolons are used to link two independent clauses, which mean the similar idea. So semicolons are to link them, and the meaning is similar one. Slashes are to offer the uh, or things, one or two, day or night, and it is also to segregate poetic lines. Last one is capitalization. uh, we must be very clear about capitalizing the titles when we are using it in our academic writing. For example, some parts of the sentences are uh, capitalized, like nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and some conjunctions we need to put in capital. For example, nouns, flowers, it comes in capital. Pronouns, as you like it. So as you will also, y will be capital, like l will be capital, and it, all these words will be capitalized. Adjectives like the beautiful and the damned. So beautiful B will be capital. Adverbs like one F by land. So this also comes in capital. Conjunctions, if will come capital. And there won't be capitalization of conjunctions, and if and is coming in between, and articles a and the, if these are coming in between. For example, Romeo and Juliet. So a and d, and a will be in small letter, not it is not capitalized. And the, under the greenwood tree. So under the will be in small letters. But the merchant of Venice, so the first letter the, the will be capital because it comes at the beginning. But if it comes in the middle, then it won't be capitalized. So this is from my side. There are many other punctuation marks, but let us stop here.
First of all, congratulations for presenting very well. I want to know that can you suggest more authentic books on this source, on this topic, which can be useful to research scholar as well as MA students also?
There, I have collected material from different sources, uh, but there are some research methodology books, including this MLA citation in this MLA handbook. Uh, there will be some of the topics included in from this mechanics of writing. So MLA handbook is better, and jargon free. So it should be logical.
Very nice. Can you give example of how to make our academic writing jargon free? Any one example of how to write jargon free when you write academic?
So academic writing should be logical, and instead of making it difficult, just state your idea in a simple words, or follow the simple sentences, and instead of making complex sentences. So if you will just try to write your arguments in a simple sentence, then it will be jargon free. Otherwise, if you want to sound difficult, or if you want to sound intellectual, then it is going to have all these things. So let it be simple, and just convey your logical arguments in a simple way, then it is okay.
Uh, very good afternoon to respected sir and other fellow research scholar. The topic that I'm going to discuss about today is tools and techniques for ELT research, English language teaching research. Basically, the reason behind selecting this topic is that I'm unable to find a specific book or resources which define that these are the tools and techniques, especially for language studies. So, whatever sources that I have read, articles, online sources, and the research which is done by other researchers, I come to find the few tools and techniques that specifically we can use in ELT research because my focus is the area of ELT. This is a point that I'm going to discuss in the presentation. First, we will discuss about the research methodology, the specific stages or the steps to conduct research in language studies. There are many types of research. As a researcher, we have referred to many books on research methodology, so we already know that there are various methods or the types of research in general. But I have tried to find out 3 to 4 research types that I can connect to the area of ELT. Then tools for data collection, specifically in ELT research, and sampling techniques. So first of all, ELT research. So when we talk about the research in language studies, ELT is a broad term that include the research in area of language, linguistics, and also the communication studies. So ultimately, when we try to connect it with applied linguistics, it is mentioned in some sources that ELT is a part of applied linguistics, where research could be done in a practical way. So ELT research is quite different from literary research in the sense that it is more experimental in nature or more practical in nature. So I have tried to define some of the stages that we can go further in our ELT research. So as we know that any kind of research in different disciplines, it start with identifying the problem. So as a teacher, we are also a researcher because in classroom we are teaching English language along with literature. So we have a sense to identify some problems, that what are the problems in teaching English to the students. So first thing that first stage that we try to identify is that research problem, which research problem should be mentioned in our research, and basis on that we try to initiate our research. So that identifying problems specifically in our area of interest. In ELT there are also various sub disciplines or sub areas like ESP, EVP, and methodology of teaching, the pedagogy of teaching, and so on. So in first we have to choose the area, and then we try to identify the problem. Next stage is the review of related literature, which is common in all the research. So basically, literature review help a researcher to know the study which is already done in selected research problem. For example, my area is to study or identifying the appropriate method to teach communication. So I will try to find out the sources in form of books, articles, or other thesis. So what kind of research is already done in area of communication studies? Uh, Next one is form hypothesis. Now, when we talk about ELT research, as per my experience, hypothesis is more important because that hypothesis is our assumption, what we believe about the problem or about the topic. So we form our assumptions, and that is assumption, not a truth. So that assumption we try to test throughout our research. So we form hypothesis, and along with that, we also form some of the research questions that we want to answer throughout our research. Next one is research design. The design is something like a plan, what we prepare in our mind before we initiate our research. So it is a kind of framework that we design in our mind, that what we will going to do in our research, how we collect data, which kind of methods, tools we use, how we analyze our data. So that is a whole design that we prepare in our mind. After that design, now the stage is to actually initiate our research. So for ELT research or the research like which require field work or the primary data. So in ELT research we have to collect the primary data first. So we try to select specific methods or tools which we think that more appropriate according to our topic of research. So there are various methods that after this, in next slide I will discuss about the methods of data collection. So we collect data. After collecting data, we analyze data by using various analytical tools. Nowadays, various online tools also available for analysis of the collected data. After collection of data, we analyze data, and after analysis, we have noted down some findings of the research, and then we try to interpret it in our own language. After these findings, we find some limitations of our research, that some areas which is untouched by us throughout our research. So we mention limitation and what could be done, or what are the new ideas, or what are the new methods or tools can be applicable according to the topic that we recommend at the end of our research. And last one is the conclusion, and we also mention the scope for further research, because as we all know that as a researcher we are also standing on the shoulders of giants. So we are also taking references, suggestions from our past researchers. So our research can be also one initiation, and it can be also helpful to the other researchers in the future. Now, types of research. There are various types of research, but I try to connect this 5 to 6 research types with the ELT. Qualitative research is the first one. So, as name suggests, when we talk about qualitative research, it involves, as I have discussed, that it is more experimental and practical. So there we require primary data. So we collect first data, and we choose the methods or the process how we want to collect data, and result basically come into the numerical data. When we talk about quantitative research, as the name suggests, the quantity, it refers the data in numbers. Then to analyze that data, we use the statistical methods, but nowadays mostly people are using the online platforms. So here I have given example of quantitative research. For example, field research, where we expect to conduct a survey on the field. It should be, if we try to understand the level of English language among the adult learners. So our adult learners, the group of adult learners will be our sample. So there we conduct a survey, and the data that we have collected through survey, it will be analyzed by the statistical methods. But nowadays people are using mostly statistical software which is readily available. So mostly it is the SPSS software, it is used for data analysis. Qualitative data, when we try to compare it with quantitative, qualitative is more open-ended. It is non-numerical data that we collect. So for example, the data that I have collected through interview, so that data I have recorded in the form of recordings like audio recording, video recording, or I have transcript of the responses of the respondent. So that is the qualitative data that I have collected, and that defined as a qualitative research. Now, what I have found, the new thing that I have referred to 1 or 2 books, and they mention that there is a new approach which is developed with the principal combination of quantitative and qualitative method, and that is the mixed method research. So mixed method, as name suggests, it is kind of research or kind of research method where we combine both qualitative as well as quantitative. So for example, in my research, I am going to use interview as well as questionnaire. So questionnaire mostly provide us the numerical data that we can define as quantitative. And through interview, the data that I will collect, that is qualitative. So that is defined as a mixed method research. These are other 3 types of research, like action research. Mostly as a researcher, as a teacher, we have heard this term, because action research is mostly connected to the teachers when teachers work as a researcher. So according to the JB West, action research is focused on immediate application, not on the development of theory, but it is emphasized on real problem on local setting. So, for example, as a teacher, or as a researcher in the classroom, when we try to find the real problem among the students that they are facing in learning of second language, that is English. So on local setting, we try to identify that problem and to solve the problem or try to improve those situation. We do action research, which is will be class based in the classroom. Descriptive research, as name suggests, sometimes it is confusing that people connect it with literary research. But when I tried to read about this research, I found that descriptive is more connected to the practical kind of research. So that I have put it here that it is connected to ELT research, because descriptive research, it is defined as a method which used to describe the existing phenomena as accurately as possible. So it stresses on accuracy, and accuracy is connected to the quantitative data in descriptive research. So when we use Google form, as most of we are aware that we are nowadays using Google form to collect our data in numbers, numerical data. So there we have ready-made analysis in graphs, in charts, which shows the result in percentage. So that is the example of descriptive research. And last one is the field research. Field research is a qualitative method of research, but sometimes it's also connected to quantitative research. It's concerned with understanding, interpreting the social interactions of the group of people, communities, or society by observing, interacting with people by using different methods, like through interview also we can meet the people and we can interact with them in their natural setting. Here are a few examples is given when then we can define it as a field research, that is participant observation. So observation method can be used, data collection through various methods, survey research is also part of field research. The next one is research tools, or also we can define them as a methods for collecting data. So mostly two or three methods which is more prominent and popular that we have heard about, like questionnaire and interview. But beside this, there are also few methods, that is field observation, case study, focus group discussion, and many others. So when we talk about questionnaire, earlier I also mentioned that it is a part of the quantitative research method, where we collect data in numbers in numerical form. Interview method is used to collect data in qualitative form. So there we have more chances to know the perspectives, ideas, attitudes of the respondent. So it is more open-ended. Field observation is mostly used in field of psychology or in other disciplines, where the researcher himself or herself go on the field and they try to observe their subjects. For example, zoologists who want to study on the behaviors of a monkey, so they go on the field and they try to observe the behavior of monkey. So that is more practical research method. Case study is a method which mostly allow researcher to know about a single person, single community, single group, or single event, and it allows researcher to know the details of the single person in depth. Focus group discussion is also sometimes defined as a focus group interview, because there was a researcher who play a role of moderator. So they are asking question to each and every participant of the group. So it also can be a group discussion. Now the last point is the sampling technique. When we talk about data collection, so for example, in my area, I want to collect data from the engineering students. So there are large population of engineering students. So it is impossible for me to select all the students. So I have large number of respondents in population, but I will select a few sample, which is a subset of that population. So there is also some techniques or methods to select the sample of, from the population. So when we talk about sampling techniques, it is divided into two broad categories: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling is based on the principle of randomization. For example, I have 100 students of engineering. So randomly, I will choose any one of them. So there is a chance for every respondent to be selected for the study. So it is based on the principle of randomization. And in probability sampling also we find there is four types. I have put a picture of that here. So through that we can understand. The first one is simple random sampling. So simply randomly I will choose any one of them. Like there is 100, so any 10 students I will choose. Systematic sample, it is talking about the system. For example, there is 30 students, and every second or every fifth or every 10th student I will select. So I have created system or systematic I will choose that every fifth student should be selected. Stratified sample, as name suggests, we first create strata, a group. So if there is 100 students, first we will divide them into small groups that could be based on different aspect, like if gender, so we divide them girls and boys, and then we select. Cluster sample, mostly connected to the idea that when we try to divide population geographically. For example, if I want to collect data from a single village, so there are many people who are residing in that village. So I divide the population of the village according to the direction. For example, east, west, south, and north. So according to the direction, I will choose four areas, and from that randomly I will choose my sampling. In non-probability sampling, as when we try to compare it with probability, so in probability we have discussed that there is equal chance to be selected. So there is randomization. While in non-probability sampling, there is no randomization. So every respondent, they don't have a chance to be selected. So here are also four types in non-probability sampling. The first one is convenience sampling. Now, as name suggests, convenience. So, as a researcher, whatever sample it is convenient to us, then we can select. So, for example, I want to collect the data from the engineering students of Gujarat. So in Gujarat, what is my native place? For example, Bhavnagar is my native place. So engineering colleges, which is near to my location, that I will choose first because it is convenient to me. So there is a more subjective choice of the researcher. Then purposive sampling, as also its name suggests, it also known as a judgmental sampling, because as a researcher we have some judgments, we have some ideas about particular respondent, and according to that or according to our purpose, we choose the respondent. So there is no the scope for randomization. Snowball sampling is more popular in non-probability sampling. So what happens in snowball sampling, that first as a researcher we try to connect with a few respondents, and then those respondents assist us to find more respondents. So in the image you can see that, for example, I connect myself to two engineering students and I want to collect the data regarding leadership skill. So I will try to ask them to help me to connect with those students who are good in leadership skill. So they will assist me as a researcher to find out more respondents. Quota sampling, as name suggests, it is more similar to stratified sampling earlier that we have seen. So here what happened, that the whole population that already divided into different groups. Like for example, for the many jobs, government jobs, there is the post or the vacancies that we have seen. So it is mentioned as per the categories. For example, ST category, SC category, OBC, EWS. So the whole population of the academics that we have divided into categories. And after that, we mentioned that two vacancies from ST, this vacancy is from other group. So that quota we have already prepared. And after that, from that group, we select our respondents. So this is some tools and techniques what I observe that can be connected to ELT research. Thank you.
Okay, so there are series of questions now. Even some questions which are not answered here, that can be given in a comment also. You can type and give an answer also. So to Poojaba, there was one question by Komal. So you can type in the comment and give the answer there also. Okay, so here we'll start first with Nimesh. Yeah, your question.
Do you think that research in ELT is easy and interesting compared to research on literature, for example, novels or short stories? Or do you think that research in ELT is more challenging, and why?
uh, in this answer, I will try to mention that I think it is up to the researcher. If they are interested in ELT, that will be easy for them. If they are interested in literature, it is more easy for them. But as per my experience, I found area of ELT is more not easy but interesting, because my interest is to do some practical work rather than developing theory or applying theory to works and other areas of literature. So in that, I will say it is based on individual choice or individual interest. uh, in this, from my observation and reading, I found some similarities of ELT research to social sciences. And some expert in ELT has sometime also mentioned when they are talking about citing the sources, it is said that MLA, it is citation style which is mostly used in humanities or also in ELT. So sometimes they try to distinguish between this both. That FPA is citation style which is mostly used in social sciences area. So sometimes when we try to connect ELT with applied linguistics, somewhere it is in connection with social sciences, and it is totally different from literature, as per my point of view.
Like most of us are going to education field. So do you believe like in colleges where they are teaching like English literature or all types of literature, there should be one compulsory paper for ELT?
Yes, sure, sure, sir. Recently I have present a paper, one or two research paper in area of ELT, and there also I have put this point as a suggestion. For example, in our department also, when we are learning here in 2016 and 18, we have two paper, ELT1 and ELT2. So from that we come to know about basics of ELT, what ELT is. And a few days before, I come into contact with one or two students from different department and schools, where they are not offering, or that schools and colleges are not offering ELT as a paper. So they don't know what is ELT. They don't know about the term ELT. So as per my point of view, and it can be also suggestion that every school, every colleges at graduation or post graduation, they mandatory include one or two paper of ELT, because we as a college and department also consider as an English department, so that include both literature and language. But as per my experience, more stress we have given on literature, but at least one or two papers should be there of ELT.
Yes, I want to ask one question. That as a ELT researcher, for example, I have choose interview method for data collections. So my question is that how to keep record that data which I have collected from the interview at the end of the data analysis. Is there any technique for that?
Yes. Recording of data is very important. So if we choose questionnaire, then we have, if we do paper based questionnaire or online questionnaire, we have automatic options of recording the data. In interview, if we choose the online method of interview, like nowadays video conferencing is also used for interview, so there we have a ready made option for recording. But when we conduct face to face interview or in person interview, there if we try to keep record of our data or the interaction that we had with our respondent, There we have option of audio recording, video recording if respondents are comfortable with that, so that we can do. Otherwise, we can also have a transcript of interview, and that also we can mention in our thesis that this questions asked in the interview.
Okay, there are a few questions, but you can give a reply in the comment. Okay. Okay. So the next presenter now is Sonaji. Yes. You're taking quite a good time, everybody, around 20 minutes. So be brief. 10 minutes time we have allotted to all the presenters. Because it will be otherwise it will be very late evening till which we'll have to go on with the presentations.
So the topic came into mind while doing coursework over here, and there was a book called The Art of Literary Research by Richard Altig. So my fellow friends have already talked about some technical aspects of research. I would like to present something else that we all would know about it. So the objectives of today's presentation are understanding the way of working in the profession of law and journalism, how the lawyers pursue the cases and how they come to the conclusion, the methods of investigation reporters, And ultimately, we will try to connect both the profession with the process of research or the profession of researcher. So let's see. Uh, in the profession of law, there is always a single thing called evidences. And around that particular area, the lawyer works. He tries to find out the evidences first. Now, to find out these evidences, he should have better resources. Along with that, he should have effective method to collect that particular material. He cannot go in a haphazard way, like in any direction and find out whatever he gets. He should have particular method. Otherwise, he will lose his client or he will lose his case. The third thing is dedication towards details. If he is not good in minute detailing, then again he is going to lose something. Then whatever he wants to prove, like whatever the case is, for that he is required to have minute detailing or minute the skill of minute observation. After that, he will have, like whatever he has collected, he would go with a thorough inspection, and then he will try to find out some conclusion from that particular. And also, he should not forget the history, the case, the reference. On the other side, the similarity can be seen in the profession of journalism as well. He also requires resources. Then he will have everything in his hand, facts as well as fake news. As we all are aware of nowadays, that whatever comes on Facebook University or WhatsApp University is like goes in a world even before the real news. Okay, so fake is more prominent than the facts. Then he's also supposed to get a particular like information, so he should know how to obtain it and where to go for the information. Okay. Then again, as we have seen in the case of lawyer, he is supposed to find out the history and references. Okay, and many a time, like journalist also put in a quotation mark particular case, that this is what happened in this particular case, so this should be. Then he should also have dedication to follow the lead. Okay, it's not about instinct or intuition, but again, he has something and he is looking for something else. Then he should have ability to manage the resources, and again the tenacity of persuasion or pursuit of the fact. So this is the sentence like that inspired me to work on this small piece of presentation, where Richard Altic himself has declared that those who would love to do research, he should be the apprentice of the lawyer as well as the journalist, and then he will be able to find out like genuine aspects of the research field. So what is the connection? I will just I have put only three things: that organization skill. Now, as we all know very well, most of us have completed 1 or 2 years, or some of us have more than 2 years. So we know we should have good organization skill. Okay, because whether we visit library, we go to the book, we visit online resources. If we are not organizing them in a proper manner, then we might lose like whatever we have done. Then putting facts together. So facts are scattered whatever we get. Okay, so we should have like a hierarchy of putting those facts, and the nature of pursuing, because sometimes like we jump for research work, because of intuition, or someone else has done or someone else is doing, so I should have also that degree. Okay, so if you are not dedicated researcher, then you are going to lose the core part of the research. After that, we can add two more as well, like resources, like reliable resources, as well as analysis skill. That is what we can add. And this is my reference. Thank you very much.
My question is, journalists are also famous for molding facts. So why Altec has recommended that one researcher should have attitude of journalist?
Very good question. But like we should also find out those journalists who are exactly uh, pursuing the facts. Okay. Nowadays, I would give you one example. Which news channel do you prefer to watch? Like all languages news channels we have. Which news channel would you prefer to watch? Or where do you go for like like the news which has fact? So it is up to us to decide. Like, yeah.
Sonaji, do you think all the skills of law and journalism are helpful in research?
So
All the skills that are there in law and journalism are appropriate to apply in research as a researcher.
most of them we can apply most of them. Like it's a big argument in that in one of the chapters because they are very much similar to that. Okay, and like I would give one example while preparing this presentation. I prepared this presentation back in 2019 actually. Okay, while after going from coursework at home, and after 2 or 3 weeks, I watched the movie Tashkent Files, and over there was a group of people from different profession, and they were looking for a case of Lal Bahadur Shastri, our ex prime minister, and the way they were arguing, okay, and they were producing proof, and at one moment you will think everybody is right, and there is no common conclusion in that movie. But again, the way they were doing the research, like in their own respective fields, one of them was journalist, ex-reporter, and one of them was, I think, doctor. One of them was a lawyer. That is what the case is.
Okay. Okay. So we'll have a next one now. And the questions which are asked in the comment also, you are all again reminded to reply there. So there were a couple of questions to the previous presentation in the YouTube comment. So you can reply there. And don't forget to type your question in advance before your turn comes, so we can display the question when the question is answered. Okay, so the next presenter is Megha, and I think at least two of you will be ready for with your questions, like Komal and Sonaji, for this. Okay, so you remain alert while listening the presentation.
Slides is visible. Is it visible? Still? Yes. Okay. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Good afternoon to all. Myself, Megha Trivedi, and today's my presentation topic is citation style. As we all know that citation is very much important as a student and as a research scholar. So this is the flow of my presentation. That first I would like to discuss that what is citation and why it is important. Purpose of citations, what is in-text citations. There are various citation styles, but in which I would like to mainly focus is on the two, APA and MLA. Next is what is the difference between MLA citation styles, but in which various editions, 7th, 8th, and the 9th editions. Difference between MLA and APA citation styles. What is footnotes and endnotes, references and works cited, and the bibliography and annotated bibliography. So first is that what is citations? In our day-to-day language, and as we all know that citations means that when we use some references for our research work, at that time we should cite that sources in a particular way, because that resources will help the other readers for their future study. So the simple definition is that a citation is the way you tell your readers that certain materials in your work came from the another sources, and the purposes are that the first one is that to show your readers that you have done proper research by listing sources which you have used in your research, and to cite sources is ethical practice in research, because if we not cite particular resources which we have used in our work, it will be known as we can say plagiarism. So we should practice that in a particular way. Purposes of the citations. So first is that to uphold intellectual honesty, because it is someone's work that they work hard for their work. So we should honestly cite their name. Then the avoiding plagiarisms, to attribute prior or unoriginal work and ideas to the correct sources. Next, to give proper credit. You all know that nowadays impact factors is very much important. So when we cite someone's work, so that person, he or she may get some credit. So that credit will very much helpful in their future academic career. So we should give proper citations for the impact factors purpose also. And the last one is that for providing authenticity, reliability, and the quality of works. So these are the major purpose for citations. Next one is what is in-text citations. It is also known as a parenthetical citations as well. So in-text citations is a short version of a reference you have made in your work cited in or bibliography in your thesis or in your research paper. These in-text citations should be presented in brackets directly after the text you have quoted or paraphrased, so it's easy for the readers to identify. You can see in the examples as well in the picture that in the first paragraph one bracket is there at the end of the paragraph, and at the later, at the last, at the bottom side, you can see the another one bracket. So in this way you can cite in-text citations. Reader can easily check that you use these kinds of points, or this paragraph you should cite from this particular reference book or research paper, etc. You all know that there are various citation styles for the different we can say fields, or we can say in for example in business, biology, chemistry, we can say social studies. But here I would like to focus is more on MLA and APA. So let us first discuss APA style. The full form of APA is American Psychological Associations, and these citation styles came in the year 1929. This style is basically for social sciences, business, criminal justice, economics, law, medical subject, nursing, and psychology. APA format only uses parenthetical citations. You can check the example also as well that how you can cite APA style. I have also embedded one video which is made by me and Komal in our master, that how to cite these all resources. So if for more detail you can watch that video later on also. What is MLA style? So the full form of MLA is Modern Language Associations, first published in the year 1985. MLA style is most appropriate for humanities, literature, as well as EIT students also. Researcher also can use MLA style, which is very well appropriate for that. It is very simple and concise. MLA styles features brief parenthetical citations in the text, keyed to the an alphabetical order. So when you use MLA style, at that time you can find that your work site is came in the alphabetical manner. So MLA style is used by school, academic departments, and the instructors. You can see the same example in previous slide. Also, you can check that one examples of the one book Alchemist. In the same examples, I have used in the MLA style. So you can check the difference between both the citation style. Here I have put the different editions of the MLA style, 7th edition, 8th, and the 9th. As in the earlier presentations, Pooja madam explained very well that what is the basic difference between the MLA 8th edition and the 9th edition. So I will not go in detail, but for basic difference, as I mentioned that in the 2009, MLA 7th edition came, and in which features we can find out that different citations format for every different sources did not include containers, and in which you can in the 7th edition you can find out the publications is include, then the URLs were not compulsory there, then the author's name should be specific. So you can check the example as well at the below. Next one is the MLA 8th editions. So MLA 8th editions came in the year 2016. Recently we all use 7th and 8th editions for citation style. In this edition we can find that the containers are included and the URLs are very much important, so we should give URL for the particular resources. Now it is includes abbreviations, volumes, numbers of journals, articles, magazines, citations, etc. So you can find that the editions number of the second edition, third editions of the volume. Next one is the ninth edition is very recently came in the year 2021, so we do not use in a much better practice, but I know that what is the minor some changes are there, that in which you can put the middle name as well, as madam said that some brackets are there, round brackets and other things. Middle name or initial name you can have to put. Publishers is very much important. Years are also very important, so we should give these particular details for the MLA 9th editions. Now, next point is that what is the difference between APA and MLA? APA is mainly used for social sciences, in which that reference is alphabetical by author's last name is very much important. You can see that here one major change is that use a end remarks, sign of the end with more than the one author. So you can see that the Richards J.C. end is a sign, and then Rogers T.S. And the another in MLA, we all use that citation styles in which author's name is very much important, work cited, alphabetical by author's last name, author's first last name, and the use, if we have two authors, then we should use AND end. So this is the major difference we can find in the both the citation style. What is footnotes and endnotes? As we all know that footnotes in our school times, in our textbook we have footnotes, so we can read further resources. For that we should use footnotes. Footnotes came at the end of the page, and the endnotes came where endnotes it came for when your topic, one topic is complete. At the end of your topic or paragraph we can find endnotes. So it is both, these both are the writing tools. Both are basically same for providing additional informations to readers. So with the help of these both the things, we can give further informations to our readers. Footnotes appears at the bottom of the relevant page, and the endnotes appears at in the list of the end of the text. Footnotes and endnotes are used in the printed document to explain. As I have given examples in your school's textbooks, you can find that. It can be used in a research paper also, articles, books, reports, documents, etc. Here you can find the example.
in this document you can find at the end of the page you can see footnotes, and after the end of this topic you can find the endnotes is there. What is the difference between references, works cited, and bibliography? These three are very important aspect when we cite all the things regarding our documents, our resources. After we have a three choice. If I want to choose works cited, then I have to choose works cited. At the end of the our work, we can find the list of the works cited. References, both are similarly most probably same, but we can choose works cited in which references we have used, so we should mark all these things. Bibliography and annotated bibliography. Bibliography is also simply a consistent list of citations that collect during researching the topic, but annotated bibliography is what it is. Basically you have to write down the brief summary or one paragraph below the citation about what you have cited from the resources. So in annotated bibliography you should write down one paragraph for that. Right now we have some online tools also for citation. Scriber is one of the best. If you use phone, then you can use citations from Scriber in your phone also. No need to use laptop or computer. So easily you can use Scriber for APA and MLA citations. In both the citations you can use. Zotero is also very new tool for online citations. I do not have used Zotero, so I have information that how to use that, and in which also you can cite very well your resources, but still I not have practically used. So these both online tools are also very much important for citations. These are the references which I have used for my presentation. Thank you so much.
My question is why footnotes are not used in writing thesis?
Why footnotes?
Footnotes are not used in writing thesis.
Okay. Basically, as per my knowledge, I know that the footnotes are we can use in research paper or the textbook. But if it is used for thesis or not, that I am not sure about that. So I will later on know and then will inform you.
Good afternoon. It's very well presented presentation. But I have one question regarding the citation. So, for example, if we have published or presented our research papers in conferences and we have published those papers, so when in further research or in future we refer those papers or the papers that which is published or presented, which is our own, authored by us. So, do we need to cite our own sources in further research or not?
Yes, we should cite our resources also because it will be very much authentic for the other persons also. So we should cite it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Have a good day.
There is an online question, so reply in the comment. Divya Sheta is asking one question, so reply in the comment. Okay, next presenter is Namrata. Yeah, it's okay. Okay now. Slightly in this side you can stand. One step on your right hand side. Once. Yes, Namrata. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
સેકન્ડ બેકમાં જવાનું છે. મારું નથી આ મેઘા ત્રિવેદી છે.
Which one? Ah.
નહીં આ નહીં આ નહીં. હા બસ બસ જ.
Left hand.
Can you see my slides? Can you see there? Yes. Good noon to all of you. Today I wish to present my presentation on the technique of research paper writing and publishing. We all aware about a research paper because we all are deals with PhD and all these things. So here we all know that what is research paper, but here we have to judge that how we can get quality research paper for writing and publishing, because it is not a easy task to judge any research paper. Here I wish to present writing style and how we can publish our research paper in well-known journal. Here, I want to start my presentation with the definition of research paper. It is given by Alok Mishra. It is a very well-known author and poet. Here, a research paper, if asked to define, can be said the written document based upon your original investigation to establish or re-establish a proposition which you carry with the help of primary and secondary sources. So here you can you have to mark that here primary and secondary sources is the base of our research paper. And however, it must not use the pieces of evidence which are already in popular use, and it must come with something new. Here we should not repeat the same thing in the research paper, but here we have to use primary source and secondary source for to give quality of our research paper. Here I find many characteristics of research paper. Here, first one is a research paper is common form of academic writing. Here, yes, it is a common thing that it is academic writing because it is used by research scholars only. Research papers require students and academics to locate information about a topic. That is how to conduct research, that stand on that topic and provide support or evidence for that position in an organized report. Here we have to mark that any research paper is need specific evidence. Without it, it is not possible to judge our primary and secondary sources. The term research paper may also refer to a scholarly article that contains the results of original research or an evaluation of research conducted by others. Most scholarly articles must undergo a process of peer review before they can be accepted for publication in an academic journal. Here we all know that any article which we wish to submit in any reputed journal, they do a specific technique, and they all peer reviewed it, because quality is a very important thing. When you write a research paper, you build upon what you know about the subject and make a deliberate attempt to find what you experts know. Here in a research paper, we need many ideas and arguments of research scholars and experts to give the quality of a research paper. A research paper involves surveying a field of knowledge in order to find the best possible info in that field.
and that survey can be orderly and focused if you know how to approach it. Here we have to understand that how to approach one specific format for our research paper and field of the knowledge. Here, a research paper represents the ideas of the person who writes it. In simple words, a research paper presents an original idea and substantiates it with logical argument. Here, we all know that logical argument is the main element in any research paper, and without it, we cannot not give it good quality to our research paper. Writing a research paper in the domain of English literature is very different compared to writing research articles in other domain. Here we all know that our field of areas technique to write a research paper is different, and others like science and all this area to present the research paper is different. Here, difference between writing a research paper in the domain of English literature and other domain. Here, domain of English literature. Here, we can find abstract thinking, arguments, feelings, and in other domains like science, we can have to deal with facts, experiments, and practicality to give the quality of our research paper. Here you can see many types of research papers. Here, argumentative research, analytical research, compare and contrast research, cause and effect, and report. Here we all know that any research paper is deals with particular format, and without it, we should not think that how to write our research paper. Here, main parts of composition. If it deals with English literature format, then introduction paragraph, body paragraphs, and conclusion paragraph. These three all are very important in our English literature field of research paper. Then here you can see 12 words, which is the basic. Which is the basic for all the area of research paper. Here title, first one is title is very important thing. Here we have to care that a good topic must be narrow and focused enough. Here we should choose a topic which should not deal with broad title. For example, subaltern in English literature, it is deals with very broad criteria. So here we have to judge and choose a topic which must be narrow and focused enough. Here I put one example: subaltern in the literary works of Jane Austen. Here you can judge or judge and know about only the author of Jane Austen's subaltern in her literary works of Jane Austen. Here abstract. Here we all are aware about abstract, because any research work is not possible without abstract. It is a first and most important thing, because it is a very brief, but it plays a very vital role. To briefly introduce the reader to the aims of the study, the methodology, results, and findings. Here you have to understand that study methodology, results, and findings we should add in our abstract. Without it, it is not possible to give a quality abstract in our research. Generally, abstract means the first section of a research paper that provides the study's purpose, research questions or suggestions, main findings, which with conclusion. Moreover, this paragraph of about 150 words should be written when the whole work is finished already. Here we have to care about that. We should not create our abstract first when we do any research work. Here we have to write it at the last of our research work, because it is a short, but it is play very important role to to give the all the quality information related to the whole research work. It is a summary of body of information. It expresses the main claim and arguments. Here, these all questions we can find through the abstract in any research work. In English literature, an abstract is a short summary of a longer work. The abstract helps readers to understand what the paper or dissertation is about. It generally includes the following elements: research problem and objective, research method, key results or arguments, and conclusion. And here we should add keywords at the end of abstract. It is also very important to highlight the major things of our research work. Introduction. Here, generally, introduction provides the main information on problem statements, the indication of methodology, important findings, and principal conclusion. Basically, this section of a research paper covers rationales behind the work or background research. Here, we can all know that introduction is the main part of any research work, because it is deals with the main things which should be deals with the background, logical arguments, and problem statement. These all things are very important, which we can find in introduction. Literature review. To summarize what conclusions have been reached in the research literature and whether different writers agree or not, to highlight main issue and controversies around the problem. Literature reviews needed for the analysis of past studies. Here we all know that we have to review all the works like research paper, old thesis, old journals. Here we have to refer all these things to write a review of the work which deals with literature. Hence, this section summarizes and synthesizes arguments and ideas from scholarly sources without adding new contribution. In turn, this part is organized around arguments or ideas, not sources. It needs 5 to 10 lines, and we have to refer close papers of our area of research. Kindle, laptop, and tablet are helpful. We have to if we do a literary or any other work related to research, then we have to refer at least 30 research paper and refer them to use markers, finding out conclusion, refer citation materials in paper. Through literature review, we can find the research gap, and it is very important for formulation of problem statement. Methodology is a very important thing. For example, qualitative method and quantitative method. Uh, and and the scholar of English literature choose a qualitative style to make her research work. Results: to present the findings of your research in any orderly manner using heading planned in your methodology or headings arising from patterns found in the research. Results mean the gained information or data after the research or experiment. Discussion is a major part which deals with the results of the research work and findings. Recommendations take its root from the discussion section, where scholars propose potential solutions or new ideas based on obtained results in a research paper. In this case, if scientists or scholars have and recommendations on how to improve this research, so that other scholars can use evidence in further studies, they must write what they think in this section. Here other research scholars get information about how to improve the quality of the research work with the same title. Limitation mean a consideration or research weakness and results to get new directions. For instance, if researchers found any limitations of studies that could affect experiments, scholars must not use such knowledge because of the same mistakes. Moreover, scholars should avoid contradicting results, and even more, they must write it in this section. Conclusion is play a major role because it deals with the summary of the whole work. The conclusion summarizes discusses key ideas developed in the discussion section. to sum up your findings and highlight the significance of the outcomes of your study, to discuss the limitations of your study and indicate where further research is needed, to sum up your findings and highlight the significance of the outcomes of your study, to outline any implication or recommendation indicated by the findings. Acknowledgement or appendix. Here, acknowledgements may take a different forms from paragraphs to chart. Here, we can find the many varieties. In this section, scholars include additional information on a research paper to present relevant details such as letters to participants and organizations, to present details of questionnaires, surveys, and other relevant instruments that you develop for the purpose of the study, to present relevant documents, for example, reports, policy, and historical documents. Here we can find it as a useful element. References. Here references means bibliography. It is the major thing in any research work, and here we can put references at the last of our research work. References mean a section where students, scholars, or scientists provide all used sources by following the format and academic rules. Here you can choose formatting your research paper. Here we can choose MLA format, APF format, SCM format for a research work. And here we all are aware about the MLA format because it is very important and useful thing to make our research work easy. Importance of journals. 2 journal and 1 conference paper submission with PhD thesis submission are compulsory. Here we all are aware about this rule. So know the journal, its editors, and submit the paper. You should find out journal which subscribe by uni. Free article journals, paid journals are less important as compared to free journal. The difference between conference paper review and or journal paper review. Here journal papers are highly qualified papers. It appears by many a times with correction with editors, reviewers. Free access journals are good as compared to paid. Conference papers are less qualified as compared to journal papers. They do blind review and conference organizers decide reviewers. Conference papers need payment. Here you can find variety of the journal search engines. Here Scopus, Printerlink, Elsevier, Google Scholar, IGI Global, and Pearson. These 6 are major, and here I put in the middle is a minor but very useful search engines. Check quality of journals to publish research paper. Here we all know that we should not only write our research paper, but the quality of the journal are also important to publish our research paper. Google Scholar is a platform where you can see articles of qualified journals which based on index factor need to publish article actively. Here impact factor is also for journal. Impact factor is for quality of journal. Reputed journals 3 years of citation data to calculate impact factor. Articles numbers. For example, we have to judge articles of one specific journal which published its papers between 2016 and 2017 and citation in their journal. Here I-10 index factor, it is the number of publications which at least 10 citations. It was introduced in July 2011 by Google as part of their work on Google Scholar, a research engine dedicated to academic and related papers. For example, for calculating the impact factor, there are 20 articles published in 2016 to 2017 by one journal, and there are 10 citations from this journal, so its impact factor is 0.5. Here H index factor. Here the examples of H factor, index factor, impact factor, and citation. H impact factor is different. Index ranking and quality of journal and author publishing and citing fall under H factor of journal. The speaker which we listen during our workshop, discussed some examples related to it. These all examples are very helpful to the researchers to know the criteria for ranking a journal. Here, 40 articles of 3 years plus 80 citation बराबर 2.0 impact factor. Here article 1 plus 1 citation बराबर is equal to 1 age index factor. Article 1 plus 20 citation and article 2 plus 0 citation is equal to 1 age index factor. Article 1 plus 1 time citation and article 2 plus 2 time citation is equal to 1 age index factor. Here article 1 plus 3 times citation and 2-year article plus 5 times citation plus 3-year article plus 7 times citation बराबर 1 article plus 22 citation, 2 article of 16, 3 articles plus 14, 4 articles plus 10, 5 articles plus 10, 6 articles plus 9, 7 articles plus 10, 8 articles plus 7. Here age index is 7. It is the result of this all. Google Chrome extension in Chrome Web Store. Google Chrome extension in Chrome Web Store. Scholars H index calculator for Google Chrome was discussed. The scholar showed the process of Google's Chrome Web Store to add it in our device. Then searched one person in Google Scholar and showed his graph to us. In the graph, we can see citation, H index, I-10 index, terminology in Google Scholar only of that person. It is very important to know how to judge the quality of an author in journal. Quality of author, article 1 plus 10 citation, barabar I-10 is 1. Thank you. Thank you for listening my presentation. Any question?
Like in academics, in academics, at what age or at what level we should introduce to the students to like to writing research paper, or at what age, at what level?
Here we can introduce them from BA to MA and their MPhil study. You can introduce from BA them to write research paper and publish it in well-known journal.
It's only writing, right?
Only writing from BA.
Not from only like from the level where can't they handle that?
Yes, you can introduce them. They will definitely like it to write.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions are already answered. Okay, so it came in your presentation. So let us move to the next one now, the last one for this session. Nimesh. Yeah. Put this camera slightly up.
Today, I am going to talk about plagiarism and academic integrity as a student, whether of BA, MA, or PhD or any other research scholar. It becomes quite necessary to at least know about plagiarism, and then one can move forwards in his or her research work. કેવું સારું, બાકી પછી ખબર જ ન હોય તો વિદ્યાર્થી એમ કે અમને ક્યાં પહેલા કીધું હતું. પ્લેજિયરિઝમ એટલે શું એમને ખબર જ નથી. તો ઇટ્સ બેટર that we tell at least tell them that there is something called plagiarism. So while doing research you may get better aware about it. So first let's know that what is plagiarism. So let's start from the basic. Derived from Latin word plagiatius, means kidnapper. To plagiarize means to commit a literary theft. We all are aware about the theft of material or things or money, but in literature also there is something called theft, and this is known as plagiarism. As per Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, to present as new and original an idea or product derived from an existing source. So there is something already existing and you take them and consider it as your own. So that intellectual property which you don't acknowledge to them is considered as a plagiarism. The practice of taking someone else's work and idea and passing them off as one's own is considered as a plagiarism. So you don't acknowledge them and you say that this is my idea, this is my work. So this is known as plagiarism. So what, to whom we can say a plagiarism? So Turnitin has done a very wonderful research, and according to them they have divided plagiarism into 10 types. So let's understand one by one. See, number one is clone. So what is clone? An act of submitting another's work word for word as one's own is also plagiarism. Many a time this happens that we directly copy paste someone's idea and put it in our research work or assignment or presentation and say that this is my own idea. So this type of plagiarism is known as clone plagiarism. Another important thing is control plus C. Contains significant portion of a text from a single source without alteration. So we do directly copy paste. We know as CCP, cut copy paste. We read many sources, we find interesting things and then directly put it in our blog or presentation. So this is also a wrong practice. Another thing is find and replace. So changing keywords and phrases but retaining the essential content of the source. હવે ચોરી કરવી તો પણ થોડીક સ્માર્ટ રીતે કરવી પડે ને. તો ઘણા લોકો એવું કરતા હોય છે કે ખબર પડે કે આમાં પકડાઈ જવાનો ભય છે તો શું કરવાનું? ફાઇન્ડ એન્ડ રિપ્લેસ. કીવર્ડ્સ હોય એને શોધી લેવાના અને પછી ફાઇન્ડ એન્ડ રિપ્લેસ આપીને એના સિનોનિમ્સ મૂકી દેવાના, જેથી કોઈને ખબર પણ ના પડે કે કોઈ સોફ્ટવેર હોય તો they didn't catch them. So a smart ચોરી, but this is also a wrong practice, and as a student we must know that find and replace is also strictly prohibited. Another thing is remix. What is remix? Paraphrases from multiple sources made to fit together. We read so many sources and take one line from this source, another from another sources. So we combine so many sources and put together in a single file. So this is also a wrong practice. Recycle. Recycle means borrows generously from writer's previous work without citation. So this is also something which we should avoid. Hybrid. Hybrid means combines perfectly cited sources with cited passages without citation. So we mix all the things. There are few citations, એક કે બે citation કરી લેવાના, and other things we do not acknowledge to the sources. So this is known as a hybrid kind of plagiarism, which we should avoid. Then next thing is mashup. What is mashup? So mix is copied material from various sources, some kind of khichdi type of material, that so many things are mashed up into a single file. Then there is a 404 error kind of plagiarism. It includes citation to a non-existence or inaccurate information about the sources. Okay, sir, જો તો citation તો મેં કરેલું છે, પણ when you go and check, such sources are not existing at all. એવા નામ શું હોય જે રિયલ લાઈફમાં હોય જ નહીં. ઘણી વખત એવું પણ બનેલું હોય કે ઇંગ્લિશ નામ મૂકવાના હોય તો ક્રિકેટર્સના નામ મૂકી દે, માઇકલ વોન. And now you really go and check, there is no critic or scholar like that. So many students do such kind of practice where they are citing to the sources or links which are non-existing. So this is known as a 404 error kind of plagiarism. Then there is aggregator. Aggregator means include proper citation to sources, but the paper contains no original work. સર તમે જ કીધું ને પ્રોપર સાઇટેશન કરવાનું, તો લ્યો બધું સાઇટેશન કરીને તો અમે આવ્યા છીએ, બટ વોટ્સ યોર, આમાં તમારું શું છે? સો ધેર ઇઝ નો ઓરિજિનાલિટી. તો આને પણ યુ કેન નોટ સે અ ગુડ રિસર્ચ પેપર, બીકોઝ રિસર્ચ પેપર કન્ટેન્સ સમથિંગ ઓરિજિનલ. એમાં તમારું પણ કંઈક પોતાનું કન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન હોવું જોઈએ. બધા સ્કોલર્સમાંથી થોડું થોડું લઈ અને મૂકી દો અને પછી એમ પણ કહો કે જુઓ વી હેવ ડન અ પ્રોપર સાઇટેશન. So this is not a good research paper, and as a scholar we should know that this is something which we should strictly avoid. Then there is a retweet. Retweet means it includes proper citation but relies too closely on text, original wordings and structures. There should be something your contribution to. જે આખી ઇમારત ચણાતી હોય તો એમાં તમારે પણ એક ઈંટ મૂકવાની છે, તો જૂની ઈંટોમાં જ બાંધકામ થયા કરશે, તો એ તો બીજા લોકોએ કરેલું છે. વોટ ઇઝ યોર કન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન? તમે બીજા લોકોના જ આઈડિયાઝ ત્યાં મૂક્યા કરો અને એના વિશે વાત કર્યા કરો, બટ વોટ્સ યોર કન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન? સો તમે જે ઈંટ એક દિવાલમાં કે એક ઇમારતમાં એડ કરો છો, ધેટ ઇઝ યોર કન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન. બટ વેન વી ડુ other people's work and consider as our own, then this is also a retweet kind of plagiarism. So all these things we should avoid. So while googling I was searching and find something interesting posters. આપણે ઘણી વખત ફરિયાદ કરતા હોઈએ ને કે બોલિવૂડમાં આટલી સારી ફિલ્મો બને પણ અમને કેમ ઓસ્કાર નથી મળતો? અહીંયા તો સલમાન ખાન, શાહરુખ ખાન, આપણા ભાઈજાન, આવા કિંગ સ્ટાર બધા બેઠા છે, એન્ડ વાય ડોન્ટ વી ગેટ એવોર્ડ્સ? ઓર આપણી ફિલ્મોને એટલું હાઈ રેટિંગ કેમ નથી મળતું? વાય અવર ફિલ્મ્સ આર સ્ટીલ ફોલિંગ અંડર ધ કેટેગરી ઓફ પોપ્યુલર લિટરેચર? એન્ડ ધ આન્સર ઇઝ ઇન ફ્રન્ટ ઓફ યોર સ્ક્રીન. તમારી સ્ક્રીન્સ પર જુઓ તો તમને ખ્યાલ આવશે કે there is no even originality in posters also. પોસ્ટર બનાવવાની પણ મહેનત નહીં કરવાની. તૈયાર બધું છે તે લઈ લો ને. અત્યારે આપણી પાસે વધારે ટાઈમ નથી. અધરવાઇઝ આઈ હેવ ઓલ્સો ફાઇન્ડ આઉટ લોટ્સ ઓફ યુટ્યુબ વિડીયો ઇન વિચ મોસ્ટ ઓફ ધ મ્યુઝિક્સ આર ઓલ્સો કોપી પેસ્ટેડ. સંગીતની ટ્યુન્સ બેઠે બેઠી લીધેલી હોય, વાર્તાની સ્ટોરી બેઠે બેઠી કોપી કરી લીધી હોય. એન્ડ સી રાઉડી રાઠોડ. સો there is a similarity with replacement killers. Then कुछ कुछ होता है. So see posters, Gajni, कोई मिल गया, PK, Ravan. These are the all Bollywood blockbuster films. એવું નથી કે આવી સાઉથની ફિલ્મ્સ છે જેને કોઈ જોઈ પણ નથી. These are the all mega hit films. And see what they have done. Everything is copy pasted, even the posters. So as a scholar or as a research scholar, we should know that this is not a good idea. પછી એમ થાય કે એટલા મોટા માથા કરતા હોય તો આપણું કરવામાં શું ખોટું? પણ ખોટું એ ખોટું, પછી ભલે કોઈ પણ કરતું હોય. સો વી શુડ નો એન્ડ વી શુડ નોટ ડુ ધીસ. આવું નથી ફોલો કરવાનું. હાલો એનું ડાન્સ સ્ટેપ ફોલો કરી લીધું, કાંઈ વાંધો નહીં. એનું એક ગીત ગમ્યું અને ગીત ગાઈ લીધું, પણ આ વસ્તુ ના ગમવી જોઈએ. સવાલ એવો પણ થાય કે હાલો ભૂલથી પ્લેજિયરિઝમ થઈ ગયું તો શું કરવું? સો યુ હેવ પ્લેજિયરાઇઝ ઇફ you took notes that did not distinguish summary and paraphrases from quotation, and then you present verdicts from the notes as if it's for your own. While browsing the web, you copied the text and pasted it into your paper without quotation marks or without citing the source. Then it is also plagiarism. You repeated or paraphrased someone's wording without acknowledgement. Then this is also a plagiarism. You took someone's unique or particularly apt phrase without acknowledgement. Then this is also plagiarism. You paraphrased someone's argument and presented someone's line of thought without acknowledgement. ઘણી વખત આપણે એવું થાય કે આ તો એક સામાન્ય શબ્દ છે ને, એક કોટ છે ને, એમાં શું પૂછવાનું? બટ ધીસ ઇઝ અ ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ પ્રોપર્ટી. આ પણ કોઈકની ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ પ્રોપર્ટી છે, એમાં એ વ્યક્તિનો હક છે. તો કોઈ પણ એક સ્મોલ આઈડિયાઝ પણ તમે લ્યો, યુ હેવ ટુ એક્નોલેજ ઓર સાઇટ ધેટ પર્સન. You bought or otherwise acquired a research paper and handed in part or all as it your own. ઘણી વખત રિસર્ચ પેપરના આપણે ટુકડા લઈ લેતા હોઈએ છીએ, અથવા તો ક્યારેક તો બેઠે બેઠું રિસર્ચ પેપર જ લઈ લેતા હોઈએ છીએ. ઘણી વખત એવું જાણવા મળ્યું છે કે યુટ્યુબના જે બધા યુટ્યુબર્સ હોય છે એ આપણા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટના સ્ટુડન્ટના તે જૂના પીપીટી કોપી કરી લે છે અને પછી યુટ્યુબમાં વિડીયો બનાવે છે. અથવા તો સેમ 2 અને 4 ના પ્રેઝન્ટેશન્સ પણ હું જોતો હોઉં છું. સો દે આર ડાયરેક્ટલી કોપી પેસ્ટિંગ એવરીથિંગ. ખાલી પહેલી સ્લાઇડ બદલવાની અને છેલ્લી સ્લાઇડ બદલી દેવાની. બાકી એમાં બધું આપણા જૂના સ્ટુડન્ટ્સનું હોય છે અને મેં જોયેલું છે. અને નામ સાથે પણ આઈ નો કે એવું કોણ કરે છે. સો જો એ લોકો જોતા હોય, then they should learn that this is a wrong practice and they should not follow this. Now the point is how to avoid plagiarism. By making a list of writers and viewpoints you discover in your research and using the list to double check the presentation of your material in paper. While doing research, we keep on making lists. Okay, we have read all these things, so we have to keep one list, and later on we can do a citation to them. Second point is by keeping the following three categories distinct in your notes: your ideas, your summaries, and your others material and exact wording you copy. Third thing is by identifying the sources of all your material, you borrow exact wording, phrases, ideas, and argument and facts. And last thing is by checking with your instructor when you are uncertain about the use of sources. અને છેલ્લે બહુ મહત્વની વાત કે ક્યારેય ન ખબર પડતી હોય તો આપણા ગાઈડને પૂછી લેવાનું. બાકી છેલ્લે પકડાવ અને પછી એમ કહે સર મને તો આવી ખબર જ નહોતી કે તમે પહેલા કીધું હોત તો સો બેટર કે લખતી વખતે કન્સલ્ટ કરી લો કે આઈ હેવ કન્ફ્યુઝન, દેન it will be a better rather than છેલ્લે પકડાવ અને પછી સર ઘણી વખત કીધેલું છે કે નોકરી જવાની પણ ન બતાવે. ઘણી વખત એવું પણ બનેલું છે કે પ્લેજિયરિઝમમાં પકડાય તો 15 વર્ષની કે 20 વર્ષની નોકરી હોય તો એ જોબ પણ મૂકી દેવી પડતી હોય છે. તો એ ન બતાવે એ કરતા બેટર છે કે વી આસ્ક અર્લિયર and we should avoid these things. Okay, this is all from my side. Thank you. Is it possible to plagiarize yourself? Yes, definitely.
Yes, Nimesh. Is it possible to plagiarize yourself?
Yes, of course. It is possible because, for example, if you have published your research paper earlier and now you are writing another paper, but you don't acknowledge your previous paper or you are borrowing your own idea another time, then it is a plagiarism. પણ તમે એમ કહો તો મારી જ બુક છે ને, મારી બુકમાંથી મારો વિચાર લેવાનો મને હક નથી? ના, સાહિત્યમાં અને ખાસ કરીને રિસર્ચમાં નથી. બાકી ઘરે વાર્તા કહેતા હો તો લઈ શકો કે ભાઈ મેં આવું બુક લખેલી છે, બાળકોને સંભળાવો તો તમે કહી શકો. બટ વેન યુ આર ડુઈંગ એકેડેમિક રિસર્ચ એટ ધેટ ટાઈમ યુ કેન નોટ. એક બુક પબ્લિશ કરી હોય ને ઘણી વખત આપણે એવું પણ કરતા હોય કે એક બુકના 4 કટકા કરી નાખીએ અને ચારે બુકને અલગ અલગ બુક્સ તરીકે પબ્લિશ કરીએ તો એ પણ ન ચાલે. સો યસ, ઇટ ઇઝ પોસિબલ ધેટ યુ કેન પ્લેજરાઇઝ યોર સેલ્ફ. સો યુ શુડ નો કે આ ખોટું છે અને આ નથી કરવાનું. યસ, નેક્સ્ટ.
Yes, Nimesh sir. I have one question that please suggest any online tools for checking plagiarism.
Checking plagiarism. I think it is a paid software. સર જ્યારે આપણા થીસીસ પૂરા થશે ત્યારે એક વખત એ પ્લેજિયરિઝમ સ્પેક્ટ્રમ એ સોફ્ટવેર છે એમાં નાખશે અને આપણને ટકાવારી સાથે આપશે કે તમારા એટલા કોડ છે એ આ સોર્સમાંથી લીધેલા છે, આ સોર્સ છે એટલામાંથી તમારામાં એટલા ટકા પ્લેજિયરિઝમ છે, એન્ડ ઇટ શુડ નોટ બી મોર ધેન ધેટ. અમુક ટકાવારીથી વધે તો આપણો થીસીસ પાછો પણ આપશે કે જાઓ ફરી વખત થોડું કામ કરીને આવો. બટ ધીસ આર ધ પેઇડ સોફ્ટવેર્સ. પેઇડ છે, કદાચ આઈ ડોન્ટ થિંક ઇટ ઇઝ ફ્રીલી અવેલેબલ, પણ આપણે સરને કહીશું કે કોઈ જો ફ્રીલી અવેલેબલ હોય તો he can suggest so that we can work on it. But મારા જ્યાં સુધી નોલેજ છે ત્યાં સુધી it's a paid software and academic institution નું લોગિન હોય એમાંથી જે ચેકિંગ પોસિબલ છે. Individual or a student cannot do that. Yes. Means I'm not getting your point. Or do you want to say that have I done plagiarism or I have seen others people's plagiarism? યસ, મેની અ ટાઈમ્સ. હમણાં જ મેં વાત કરી ને કે ઘણા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ આપણા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટના હોય, આપણા જૂના પ્રેઝન્ટેશન હોય એને કોપી પેસ્ટ કરી અને મૂકી દેશે. ઘણા એવા યુટ્યુબના વિડીયો પણ જોયેલા છે કે બધા યુટ્યુબર્સ હોય ને બનાવતા હોય છે કે નોવેલ વિશેની ટૂંક સમરી આપતા હોય. તો સાગર લાધવાનું પ્રેઝન્ટેશન જ મેં જોયું હતું કે એનું પ્રેઝન્ટેશન બેઠે બેઠું લઈ લીધેલું છે ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટના નામ સાથેનું અને કોઈ અજાણ્યા યુટ્યુબર છે એ એને યુટ્યુબમાં એને મૂકેલું છે. સો યસ, આઈ હેવ સીન મેની ઇન્સ્ટન્સીસ ઓફ ડુઈંગ ધેટ. યસ. Any other? Okay, so thank you.
Okay, so thank you all of you for making very interesting, very informative, very useful presentations on all these topics. All this are going to be very useful to the students also. Yeah. So this is with this we are ending our first session, and we have 2 more sessions to go today in this presentations. The second session that we are going to start within 10 minutes, that will be on the general area of the research. And that will be very specific to all the candidates who has worked on or are working on their own areas of research. So we are beginning our second slot within 10 minutes. We are ending this session here.